Well, this is a very exciting day because we have guest speakers and singers all rolled into one with Reverend Z. Egloff and Reverend Dr. Melissa Phillippe. They come from Sonoma County, where I come from, a great place to be from. And I'm so grateful. You know, they have touched people's lives in ways through their video ministry, through their affirmation ministry. It's called Oh My God Life. And they tackle real, true feelings. And that's what I love about this teaching and about the people that we can lift up in this teaching to teach us, are people who talk about real stuff. So will you give me, help me give a CSA welcome to Reverend Dr. Melissa Phillippe and Reverend Z. Egloff.
Thank you, Reverend Georgia. We're so happy to be here. So happy to see you all at home there in the little magic camera
box
there. Okay, so we're going to get started with a song, and we would like you to join us. We have words and moves, because I know y'all like to move here. So we're going to do that. So you're just going to, band's going to get us started just to have the groove here. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do is just repeat after me. So we're going to clarify.
Clarify.
Except it's a little faster, so it's clarify, magnify, occupy.
Occupy your faith.
Now, so I say, oh, you guys know it. You already know it. Okay. So when I say occupy, you say occupy your faith. You can not occupy your face. I'll feel free to do that too. So let's run those first three again. Okay, so here we go. We're going to clarify, magnify, occupy your faith. And then we're going to glorify, testify, fortify your faith. That's it. And then there's a little part.
There, you are going to sing.
Sing.
So you're going to sing with me, but to learn it, for those of you who don't already know it, echo after me. Fortify, fortify, fortify your faith. You're so good here. Did Z mention that we love CSA? Woo!
And also, we can see all at home. We have special little X-ray vision, so we'll know if you're moving or not. All right, so you all ready? Okay, here we go. I like to move. Don't be alarmed. No one's ever been hurt before. Not until today, at least. When I was a child, a little bitty baby child, I didn't believe in nothing. Faith was for suckers, I told myself. People who are weak, people who need help. But all around me, everyone would say, you gotta believe, you gotta pray. Believing in nothing ain't no way. Here's what you gotta do each and every day. You gotta clarify, magnify, occupy your faith. And then you gotta glorify, testify, fortify your faith.
Oh, you've got to fortify your faith. Oh, you've got to fortify your faith. Oh, yeah.
Time went on, and I grew up. I started to question. I said, what's up with my life, the world, the universe, and how things work? Why am I here? Tell me now, what's my worth? I started to notice synchronicities and a power beyond what I could see. Next thing I knew, I heard Spirit say, here's what you gotta do. Each and every day you gotta clarify, magnify, occupy your faith. And then you gotta glorify, testify, fortify your faith.
You've got to fortify
in the heart and grows and grows. Where it stops, God only knows. So if you're down, if you're blue, remember that spirit is bigger than you. Let it hold you, mold you, take you, shape you, and here is all you have to do. You gotta clarify, magnify, occupy your faith, and then you gotta glorify, testify, fortify your faith. Oh yeah, you gotta clarify, magnify, occupy your faith, and then you gotta glorify, testify, fortify your faith.
You got to fortify your faith. I wanna hear you say fortify. Sing it again. You know you got to believe fortify. Yeah. Fortify your faith.
Well done, well done. Well done.
Hi, baby.
Hey, you start this
Good
time.
morning.
Usually I start.
I don't usually
She's
start.
like, she's looking to me. I'm not
looking
saying
at
anything.
Z. I always look to you. What do I do, baby? So, sometimes we're just cruising along down our path of life, and bam, 2020. Our path runs right into a raging river. Sometimes we can see the end of our path, and we can even maybe see to the other side of the river and see our path. But we cannot see a way across, right? Just me? Come on, y'all. So more often we have smaller little streams in life that we can just sort of hop over, right? But it is kind of a constant thing, this crossing water. And those tiny ones, you know, a tiny little change, a new habit, or a small change here or there can make a big difference in the long trajectory of our life. But always, whether hopping a tiny little stream or standing at the edge of a raging river, maybe no idea how to get over, maybe you can't even see the other side. There is one thing, there is always one thing that makes it better. That's asking for help from Spirit. So at Centers for Spiritual Living, we teach and talk about affirmative prayer. And, you know, we're ministers of this movement, so you can imagine we love affirmative prayer. And we have also found that there is another powerful thing to do that I know y'all talk about here, because you got awesome ministers here. And that is ask. Ask for help. Of course, when we ask, we are aware that we are asking for help from Spirit that is both outside of us and also within. And we are asking it to bring answers, bring guidance directly or through others, right? So the good news is, whether we recognize it or not right away, we know that ask, that prayer, is always answered. One of the best things about spiritual practice over time that I know y'all know is that the more deeply we connect with Spirit, the more often we ask. That even when things are hard, we stand on this one side and we ask, and we can know that even if we cannot see the other side of the flippin' water and we see no bridge, we can trust there is a way across. The good news is, as I learn, at least, more fully to lean into Spirit and to ask and to listen and to surrender, it becomes more and more easy to ask and to surrender and to ask again. I ask Spirit, and I ask whoever Spirit tells me to ask. Right? And help always comes, whether I recognize it right at first or not, because I often don't. This morning, we're going to each talk to you about standing on the edge of a river and needing to cross and ask for help to get across, and a story for each of us of how we did that. That's our morning. That's what you got coming. And for now, I give you my wife, Reverend Z.
Thank you, Melissa. So the message today is basically very simple, right? Ask for help. And this is like free-range help, just like help, right? We have our structured prayer, but I'm talking about just straight up asking, right? That's the message. And here's the trick about asking for help. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I know that sometimes when I really need help, I forget to ask, right? We remember those times when it's easy to remember, but when we really, really need it, we forget. So we have a little hack for that, which is ask for help all the time. Like all the time. I mean, all the time. Which actually, for me, when I started doing this, kind of feels like a superpower, because I'm talking about like before a meeting, before a phone call, before a decision, like every single thing, ask for help. Why not? Spirit is so much smarter than we are, right? I mean, really. So as I do this more and more, I feel like it's a superpower, right? Now, there's one particular time for me, because there are those times when we're, like Melissa said, at the edge of a riverbank, no way to get over. So one of those times for me was back in the day, in my early 20s. So I had graduated from college a little bit before that, and I was an English major, which is another way of saying I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Shout out to the English majors out there. I found myself working on a farm in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Yeah. And it was great, because I'd grown up in a very academic environment, so it was just a real nice change of pace. The farm was owned by an older, elderly gentleman named Hollis Lovell. He was from the South. Isn't that a great name? Hollis Lovell. And it was managed by a young guy named Stuart. So young Stuart talked Hollis into buying a whole bunch of equipment for the farm so that we could really do it right. It was a 4-acre small vegetable farm. Some of the big thing that the equipment included was a brand new John Deere tractor. Like this big old tractor with all these big old attachments. Only Stuart was allowed to drive this thing. It was fancy. But then about 2 months after Stuart talked Hollis into buying all this stuff, he left. He said, I'm going to go start my own farm. See ya. And Hollis said, okay, now we need someone to run the place. I pick you. He picked me because we'd gone to the same college. I knew nothing about running a farm. I knew nothing about driving a tractor. Let's put it this way. I was 24 years old, and I did not have a driver's license. I learned to drive back in Ohio when there was driver's ed as part of your high school, and it was a terrifying experience for me. My driver's ed teacher was intense. She was rumored to have a few DUIs, and she drove demolition derby cars on the weekend. There were 2 other kids in the car with me, one of whom had been driving since he was in diapers because he grew up on a farm. He was a great driver. And then there was this girl who was also a great driver. I think she got most of her driving experience stealing cars. So I was terrified of all of these people. I was not a driver. I was not in my body, let's face it. When it was my turn to drive, she would just take me out and have me drive on the country roads because, God forbid, I should deal with traffic or other cars, right? So here I am, a few years later, with no driver's license being said, you're going to drive the tractor. All right. So Stuart was this really intense guy, the young guy who was leaving. He was a real Yankee. He only spoke about 5 words a day, and that was only in response to direct questions. So he had to train me. We had about 2 weeks. Yeah, it went okay, I guess. 5 words a day, you know. So he leaves, and there I am, all by myself to run the farm. I still remember my first day at work. It was a Friday. Beginning of the day went pretty well, and then it came time that I had to rototill a field. Now, a rototiller for a tractor is like this big, and in order to get the rototiller on the tractor, you have to back the tractor precisely into the rototiller with these big U hitches, right? So I jump on the tractor, and I back it up, and I don't get it. So I put it in forward, try again, a little closer, put it in forward, try again. Now I'm a little farther away. Try again, a little farther. I tried again and again and again and again. I tried to get that tractor hitched to that tiller for about an hour, and I could not do it. I could not do it. Talk about coming before a river and there's no way across. If I couldn't drive that tractor and I couldn't till that field, I couldn't run the farm. Like, what was I going to do? Now, I had discovered the spiritual path at this point, and I remembered it was one of those I didn't remember to ask for help right away, right? But I finally remembered to ask for help. So I'm sitting there on the tractor, I close my eyes, and sometimes asking for help sounds like this. It's a little different than begging and beseeching because we know that Spirit is in us and all around us and the answer is going to come, but sometimes the first request sounds like, help. So that's what I did. I asked for help, and I heard a voice in my head that said, step away from the tractor. And then it said, go home. So I went home, and by that I mean I rode my bike home because, you know, not a driver. And I spent the weekend just kind of sitting in the question, right? Like, what the heck am I going to do? Now, I had discovered the spiritual path, like I said, a little bit before this. And when I did, I said, Spirit, my life is yours. Like, I got it. Like, I am giving my life to you. You're going to tell me what to do from now on. And one of the first things Spirit told me to do was go to the farm. And now here I was finding myself supposedly running the farm. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know why I was there, but I knew that Spirit had guided me there. I knew I was supposed to be there, even though I didn't understand why. So I knew the next step was to go back. So on Monday morning, I went back to the farm, and by that I mean I rode my bike back to the farm. And I'll never forget what happened. I got up on that tractor, and I backed it into that tiller the first time, like butter, like I'd been doing it all my life. And I remembered something, I learned something that I've never forgotten, which is sometimes when we're at the edge of that river and we can't see our way over, we need to stop. We need to step away from the tractor and take a breath and allow Spirit to show us the way over. In my case, it was like Spirit built a little bridge and I drove that tractor over the bridge. And I stayed at the farm for 6 more years, and in that time, I learned why I needed to be there. I got grounded in my body in a way that I never would have, was I not working on a farm, my feet in the dirt, right? I learned to drive that tractor. I got a driver's license finally. I'm so fancy, yeah. I drive all the time now. Being at the farm helped heal me from an eating disorder by growing and eating healthy food. And also running the farm, like being asked to be a manager, my self-esteem before that was like nothing. My confidence was nothing. But having that opportunity to manage that farm was so empowering for me. And it was all because I was willing to stand on the edge of that river, not knowing what to do, and simply asking for help. When we ask Spirit for help and we listen, when we listen, Spirit always, always gives us an answer. When we ask for help and we listen, Spirit always gives us an answer. Might not be what we expect, might not come in the time we expect, but it always comes. So when now I am in front of a particularly gnarly river, I step away from the tractor and I listen. And now, with another story about asking for help, I present my wife, Melissa Phillippe.
So I was a full-on drug addict at the age of 13. Anyone? No. You don't. No. I know there are others of you out there. Anything to avoid being me. To steer away from feeling feelings. And being me back then meant feeling a lot of feelings that I had no idea how to navigate or feel. But for a long time, I had no idea about any of that. I can say all that now, right? I was just partying. And back then, partying meant doing lots of heavy drugs all day, every day. Through the years and only dabbling in spiritual stuff, I ended up getting to a place where I just used pot and alcohol. I don't know if any of y'all, now I know there are people can smoke pot, do whatever with you. Now there's lots of things you can do with pot, but do pot and alcohol and not have it be a thing. But for me, that wasn't true. So I found myself lost, really lost, at the age of 31. I had been on this career trajectory, and I was about to move to LA to work with management on my music career. Very exciting. Yeah, sounds great. Then it fell apart all at once. And there I was, depressed. Not an idea of what to do now. My path had been very clear, and then suddenly, right in front of me, the ground fell away and there was a river and no way across. So even though I'd been doing some spiritual practice, I didn't have like a conscious relationship with spirit like Z did to say, help. But I did walk around lost all day, every day, asking the universe to help me. Oh my God, help me. A little bit different. Just asking for any sort of sign or guidance like that, right? Nothing seemed right. Nothing was pulling me, guiding me for months. And then a friend of mine visited me and saw the state I was in and said, this seems like a great time for you to come and visit me in Hawaii. Whoosh, energy. All of a sudden, my whole being was filled with yes, 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 yes. Go take that offer, right? Yelling at me. I had no idea why I needed to go. I just knew I had to go because everything said to go. So I decided that while I was in Hawaii, which I was for 6 weeks, I would do a cleanse. And this cleanse would help get me clear about my path. And this cleanse would include no drugs or alcohol. Yeah, I thought it would help me get clear. And boy, howdy. It helped me get clear, just not about what I thought. It helped me see that being in myself and not numb was excruciating. I just didn't know how to do it. It was too much. So I admit that when I came back to California after that 6 weeks, I went back to drugs and alcohol. But something had changed. That time in Hawaii, I just couldn't use in the same way I had before. And actually, every day of my first 2 months back from Hawaii, I woke up and said, today is going to be the day I make it to the end of the day without using drugs or alcohol. Yeah, so if anyone's ever been there, on one particular day, I decided I was running out of things. My stash was gone, and I thought, that's good. I won't get any more, and then maybe I'll make it to the end of the day, right? if I don't actually have any? It's one way. So, and I did. I made it through this next day till about 11 p.m. And I was actually in bed to go to sleep at the end of the day. And I picked up the phone and I called my brother. And then I got up and I got dressed. And I walked out to find my car on the streets of San Francisco at the time, and I drove the 90 minutes to get whatever my brother had, which that particular day was one joint. On that drive, I remember clear as a bell this moment when I said out loud to myself in the car, laughing, "This is almost like what a drug addict would do." Yeah, almost. So fast forward another month, during which every day I would say, today is the day I'm going to not use. So any of you who have ever done this, you know that part of what happened for me was every day I used earlier and earlier in the day, because I would make it to a certain point, and then I would say to myself, clearly, I made it this far into this day, so I can do this whenever I want. And now I don't want to today. And then I would use. And I would feel terrible. I would hate myself. And I would immediately promise myself that tomorrow's going to be the day. Now, around the same time, I found a new friend. I'd met him after I got back from Hawaii. He had 3 years sober. And he had been telling me these stories as we were getting to know each other about his alcohol use. And he was like gutter drunk alcoholic. He would tell me these stories, shocking. And then I would see his life. A highly functioning, happy guy, 3 years sober. And it started to give me this thought that if he can do it, maybe I can actually do it. So one night, at the very point when I was about to give up, I had a joint in one hand and a match in the other, and I called my friend Barry. I really wanted him to talk me out of lighting it, but I got his answering machine. Remember answering machines? Yeah, I got his answering machine. And I said, I'm sitting here with a joint in one hand and a match in the other, and I really wanted to get you, and I wanted you to talk me out of doing this. That was my message. So you can imagine that when he got home and he got my message, he called me. And he said, did you use? Do you regret it? And do you want to stop? And I said, yes, I used. And I started crying, and I said, I really regret it. And I really want to stop. So he said, I have suggestions. I suggest you hang up the phone, get out of Yellow Pages. Remember those? Look up a meeting, find one that you can go to tomorrow. Go to the meeting. Before the end of the meeting, raise your hand, say you're an addict, and you need phone numbers. So I did. I went to the meeting. I left that meeting with 6 phone numbers and a sponsor. That was Friday, July 31st, 1989, and it was day 1 of my not using. So I had to ask Spirit for help that day about 1,000 times. Just, help. But now, I've made it through 31 years, 11 months, and 18 days. With lots of asking for help all along the way. The thing is, too, that in that time, I've gotten really good at navigating those emotions of being me, not numb. In getting clean, I got closer to spirit, higher power. Asking for help became comfortable for me. Got so close to spirit that at some point spirit said, you need to become a minister. And now here I am standing here talking to you about asking. I did not have any idea when I had that intuitive knowing to go to Hawaii that intuition was spirit. The spirit calling out to me. And that I listened, actually. I actually listened. And all the rest of this unfolded because I listened to that, to spirit as my intuition. The great news about all of us is we all have that. Guiding us, nudging us, sometimes throwing us into what is ours to do next for our greatest good. And as we listen, that's where we go to our next greatest good. Here's the thing. When we ask to be able to cross the water, whether it's big or small, we're always dealing with some little water or huge raging river, right? And what Z was saying, ask all the time. Ask at every little puddle. Help me hop across. So that when we hit that raging river, and sometimes it's when the ground just opens up before us, totally didn't see it coming. COVID, anyone? That we're so used to asking, we just ask. It's a knee-jerk, automatic reaction to ask. And we will always get an answer. For now, I would like to invite you, please, to close your eyes. And take a deep breath. In what area of your life do you find yourself standing at a water's edge? Have you been getting guidance already from your intuition? Maybe listening, maybe not. If so, what has it been telling you? If not, that's fine too. Now see yourself standing at this water's edge and tune into your heart. And allow whatever comes up for you in your heart to come as you ask. Spirit, what do I need to know about just my very next step? What is mine to do? And what is mine not to do? Spirit, do you have a symbol for me that will help to lead me to your best direction for my next steps? Good. Now, with the awareness that whether clarity already just came or comes later today or sometime soon, Spirit always answers. So with that invitation to keep listening, keep listening, keep listening, For now, take a deep breath and turn your attention back to the room. Thank you for listening.